We've all heard the old school rule, renting is throwing money away and buying is an investment. But as a financial advisor, I'm here to tell you that that logic is officially outdated. Right now, the math is getting more difficult. Between 6.5% mortgage rates, property tax creep, and the massive opportunity costs that large down payments do to your liquidity, the right move isn't as obvious as it used to be. So whether you're a first-time buyer or a retiree wondering if your home is still your nest egg or just a cash flow vampire, we're going to go beyond the Zillow price tag. We're going to crunch rent inflation, the friction of transaction costs, and where your cash actually performs best. And by the end, you'll know if you should sign a deed or just keep the flexibility of your lease. Hi. My name's Sally Boyle, and I work with families approaching retirement within the next 10 years. So let's look at the 6 variables that actually matter. And first, the one that everybody looks at is your mortgage rate. And we're hovering around a 60-year average right now. And a rate is not just your monthly payment, which is typically how we look at it. It dictates how fast you build up equity and reshapes your entire tax picture. So if your rate is high, you're actually paying mostly interest for the initial years, which changes the buying is an investment math significantly. Now, the second variable is the appreciation rate. And since 1967, and the national average has been right around 4.2%. But your life isn't a national average, is it? So if we're looking at a slow growth market, which we'll call 2%, a $400,000 home will grow to about $488,000 in 10 years. But in a high growth market, we'll call that 6%, it hits about $716,000 or nearly $230,000 difference. So if you're considering buying, check the local appreciation rate and be conservative here. Because if you need a 6% growth rate to break even, and we're going to talk about that in terms of transaction costs in a minute, you aren't investing, you're gambling. Now, the third consideration is rent inflation. And historically, rents have gone up about 4.2% since 1950. But even at a modest 3% rate, which we saw in the early part of 2026 here, a $2,500 rent check climbs to over $4,500 in 20 years. And at 4.2%, it grows to $566. Now, people buy homes to fix their housing costs. But remember, your mortgage might stay the same, but your property taxes and insurance certainly won't. So pay attention to the property tax history on your home as well, especially if you're considering buying it. Now, the fourth variable is transaction costs, and this is what I call the hidden friction. This is the one variable that most people ignore. Buying costs you typically about 2 to 5% of your home value in closing fees. And then selling costs cost you about 6 to 9% in commissions and taxes. So on a $400,000 home, you're looking at anywhere from $32,000 to $56,000 just to move in and out. So if you don't stay for at least 5 to 6 years looking at your appreciation value, you're losing money on this friction alone. Renting isn't throwing money away if it saves you $50,000 of exit fees. Now, the fifth variable is the tax reality. And thanks to the Big Beautiful Bill Act, the property tax deduction has gone from $10,000 to $40,000. But that's just a temporary gift through 2029. And here's the kicker. With the standard deduction also going up to $31,500 for joint filers, only 31% of taxpayers actually itemize their deductions and get the benefit of that interest deduction. So this means that 2 out of 3 mortgages offer no tax benefit at all. So don't buy a house for the tax break that you might not get. And then the sixth variable is what we call opportunity cost. On that $400,000 home, your down payment is $80,000. But it doesn't just sit there, it stops working everywhere else. In a diversified account, your $80,000 could earn 7%, and that cash could grow to $157,000 in 10 years. So compare that to your home equity and your appreciation growth. Home equity is illiquid and it's stuck. And if your rent is cheaper than your mortgage payment, you would be adding those payments to that account every single month. And you might actually find that you end up wealthier than the homeowner next door. So the bottom line is this: buying a home shouldn't be a gut reaction to outdated thinking, especially. It's a complex calculation of these moving parts. So always ask, rent, buy, well, compared to what? So if you'd like me to run the numbers for you in your specific situation, just let's chat. Schedule an appointment in the link below. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video.